Hollywood Brown is practicing in a Chiefs uniform, and this was something that I actually remember you and I talked about when it first happened. We're like, okay, he'll miss the week 1, but target week 2 or week 3. And then that pushed all the way back to playoffs at best. And now he's not going to play on Sunday in Cleveland, but he's probably going to play against the Texans, or at least the next week. Like, he's going to play this season.
At least by Christmas,
you
think.
And that is a great development.
Yeah, it's a great development. I don't think it's the offense fixer, given that most of the problems still stem from not being able to consistently pass block, or being too reliant or too stubborn to not accept running the ball a little bit more.
Keyword on a little bit.
A little bit more than what they've been doing and what they've been in terms of. It feels like that we've seen like the Buccaneers game where they were heavily reliant upon the running game and stuck to it, and then we've seen games where they've started with a couple runs and then gone away from it pretty quickly in favor of throwing the ball a lot. I think that it's big because it's another guy who can beat man coverage, and we've seen at times a lot of the personnel grouping of receiving options be DeAndre Hopkins, Juju Smith-Schuster, Travis Kelce, and Xavier Worthy. Xavier Worthy's fast. He can beat man coverage. He can beat man coverage deep. Whether the ball gets to him or not has been the trouble this year.
But he's been winning.
But he has been winning, yes. And in the intermediate and shorter routes, yes, Travis Kelce is incredible against zone. DeAndre Hopkins is able to make those contested catches, and that's still something that Patrick Mahomes is learning to take. But the skill set of Hopkins and Smith-Schuster is a little repetitive.
Yeah, and we've seen Juju's snaps go down.
Yes, and that's why I'm saying I think if Hollywood is able to get back into the fold, able to get his conditioning up, you would think that he would be able to take over that role and be somebody who can win against man coverage quickly. And if he beats man coverage quickly, and if you've got him and Worthy out there, I'm thinking you're going to see less of that. And as a result, it would free things up for Hopkins and Kelce. And I think that's probably the ideal for the Chiefs in terms of a passing attack of getting guys open.
Yeah.
That's half of the equation. The other half is protecting 15 and giving him the time to get him the ball.
Yeah, but that's the nice thing with Hollywood Brown is he can still be an asset even with even not just like that's where I think a lot of Xavier Worthy's production kind of has been more deep ball reliant. They haven't gotten to him in the first 15 yards as much as maybe he's capable of. Obviously he has to a degree, but not as much as like Rashee Rice last year. I know a different type of player. But Hollywood Brown, even though he's small and fast, he can probably have more success in those shorter routes than Worthy. It's a matter that's a lot more chemistry based. I think there's still room though for Hopkins, Worthy, and Brown on the field together.
Yeah.
I think, Justin Watson snaps will come down. I think maybe Noah Gray snaps might come down a little bit.
I don't know.
I just a little bit because you can only have, 5 guys out there. Yeah. If you got a running back and Travis Kelce out there, in order to have Brown, Worthy, and Hopkins out there, you can only have one tight end.
I think the key thing is that you get almost a guarantee on any snap that Worthy or Brown is on the field, and that's a vertical threat with great speed. And you've got somebody there, given that McCole Hardman got put on IR, it's another option for jet sweeps and kind of those kinds of things.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see when he gets in the fold and what type of team he joins, because part of the benefit of him playing against Houston is because all the starters will play, they'll be trying to win, whereas that's not a guaranteed any game after that. Because if you don't know, folks, if the Chiefs win on Sunday and win on Saturday against Houston next week, and the Bills lose to the Lions, which is possible. Do you know who's favoring that game? Lions, I assume?
Ooh, I'll check.
If that happens, the Chiefs would not need to play their starters on Christmas Day against the Steelers.
You still need the Steelers to lose one more time too.
And the Steelers play the Eagles and the
on Sunday.
So that's where it's unlikely the Steelers do that. That's a good point. But I think that would be one. It's an incentive to win in Cleveland, but that could help. Sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought there. Hollywood Brown getting in against Houston, that'd be better than if he plays on Christmas Day, but it's with Carson Wentz. What kind of value does that have?
Yeah, and that's the debate. I'm still attempting to find.
Oh, you looked
Sunday's
up
Sunday's
intrigued.
line. The Lions are favored by 2.5.
Yeah, that's about fair.
So
Chiefs only 4.5.
Basically, home field advantage.
Chiefs are a 4.5 point favorite, Gabe, against the Browns, which, I mean, I could see it being a 4 or 5 point game, but how much percentage chance do you give the Browns of beating the Chiefs, like on a money line basis?
20% chance.
I don't know if I'd go that high.
Really?
I think it's like 10-90. I mean, I just don't think the Browns are better than people realize, but I just think this is another case where, what percentage chance do you think it'll be decided in a 5 point game? 5 points or less.
80% chance.
Yeah, I was going to say 75. So,
I would say more realistically, like 70% chance it's 5 or fewer game, and I would say 85% chance it's a 1-score game.
Right. Yeah, and so that's where, I think it'll be, but I just don't think at the end of the day that Jameis Winston can outduel Patrick Mahomes in crunch time. But that'll come down to the Chiefs' defense forcing takeaways. They've forced the third fewest amount of turnovers in the league, whereas the Browns, I believe, have given the ball away fourth most in the league. So that'll be a key thing to watch. Gabe, your final Red Friday before the game. What is your final storyline that you're most watching for? Is it the left tackle play? Is it the turnovers, quarterbacks?
It's the turnovers. The turnovers. Conventional wisdom, I keep saying this throughout the year, of the Chiefs, you would just figure – I've been saying this since last year, of you would figure that the Chiefs are not going to continue to be a bottom half of the league team in terms of forcing turnovers and turnover margin. And Steve Spagnuolo even mentioned it this week. He was like, I would like us to force some turnovers more often because it would increase our margin for error, and it would. Yeah, he's like, I hope that we've just been saving them all up because we haven't really gotten any. So, yeah, that's absolutely.
And then
what
they
I'm
did in the
for.
playoffs last year. The Ravens, they had some really timely turnover there.
Absolutely.
So it's possible. I mean, Trent McDuffie still doesn't have an interception in his career. He hasn't been as good this year, but we'll see if that comes. I agree. Okay, Gabe, Tamba time. Why? Tamba was inducted into the Chiefs Ring of Honor on Sunday. Your thoughts on Tamba Hali when you think back to him as a player and his time in Kansas City, which he was drafted by Herm Edwards, and then he stayed on through the Arizona State.
I get PTSD legend, when I hear the name Herm Edwards.
And then he stayed on through the Todd Haley era and Andy Reid. And did not get a Super Bowl ring, though. He missed it by 1 year. Your thoughts on Tamba entering the Ring of Honor?
Yeah, I think that his time frame with the Chiefs is really interesting because it spans such a vast, not necessarily eras, but necessarily
3 years with Herm Edwards.
Yeah, he played through different versions of the Chiefs. He played through old school football with poor quarterback play. He played through the Alex Smith era. He played into a little bit of and was teammates with Patrick Mahomes briefly. So spanning that time frame, he's one of the best defensive players in franchise history, and it feels right that he's one of the quicker inductions into the Chiefs Hall of Fame of retirement to actually going up there in the Ring of Honor. And we've had all these discussions about what is Arrowhead Stadium's future, what is the Chiefs' future at Arrowhead Stadium, and if they will be playing in a new building or not. But it feels right that if, when the lease is up in 2031, the Chiefs are somewhere else, it feels right that we would have 6 or 7 years of T. Holly 91 in that Ring of Honor at Arrowhead Stadium to cement the player that he was in that building.
Yeah, just pulling up his stats, 89.5 career sacks. Gabe, that's a lot. That's where we talk about measuring on sacks, and that's not even a fair measurement as far as because how good of a pressure player is. And a lot of times he didn't have an all-pro on the other side of him, so he was getting sometimes the Chris Jones treatment, where he's constantly facing a tackle and a running back and a tight end, and still to get that many sacks, but also 33 forced fumbles. That is like a third of the time, you're getting
a few of those on running backs,
out.
But yeah.
Well, that's true. Yeah, but either way, still impressive to knock the ball out. I think that's when I think of Tom Brady, I think of him running around the edge and just tomahawk chopping. That's something we haven't really seen a Chiefs player since him do very well. That's obviously I think Derek Thomas is more known for that from his time in the 90s, but I think that was an underrated part of Tom Brady's game because that's even more game-changing than a sack. So when you think of that, his Chiefs era, I didn't realize he played 3 years for Herm Edwards. That's like almost his whole tenure.
That's 25% of it.
Yeah, first-round pick out of Penn State. Spent his entire career as a Chief, too.
Yeah.
I think that's also cool. So when you think about those teams, who's next to go in to the Ring of Honor in your mind?
Ooh. I mean, if you're bypassing a lot of it, because they do one per year.
Yes.
So if you're going to bypass or surpass other guys from the 80s and 90s and whoever might be left of the Chiefs of yesteryear, how quickly are we getting to Jamal Charles?
Well, he retired a little bit later, right? What was his last year?
I think that his last year was like a year or two
2018.
after
Okay, so
Tamba.
Only 1 year later. I was thinking Dwayne Bowe. No?
I wouldn't go to Bowe before Charles.
Well, I guess that's saying if you can delay it. It obviously Charles deserves it more than Bowe, but the more you go back, and Derek Johnson's Derek Johnson, Jamal Charles are the same year, and then 1 year after that, and Eric Berry, that 2018 team. I think those are the three. But so then, based on that reaction, do you think Dwayne Bowe should be a Chiefs Hall of Famer?
I feel like being put on the spot. I don't know because
Okay.
I'd have to look into the numbers and see what the.
Okay, so you're on the fence. Yeah, this is just a gut check. Trent Green, Chiefs Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Yes,
I think so.
Well, then that's one that they've kind of skipped over then.
And that's where that one. But they've gone back and forth of inducting a few older guys at times.
That's why the Tamba pick kind of surprised me a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's true. And the thing is, they've got to get through a few of the older generations in large part because down the line they're going to have a lot to choose from the late.
Well, that's why I think it's an interesting
10s and this 2020s.
Yeah.
Like, there are a lot of guys,
right?
Who either the bar for entry is going to have to go up, or they're just going to have a lot more guys getting in. That's
why I think the Tamba Hali part is them saying, okay, we got to get to this next generation because Derek Johnson, Jamal Charles are, the next obvious. And then Eric Berry, right? Yes? Chiefs Hall of Famer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think those are three. And then by that point, Travis Kelce's going to be retired. Mitchell Schwartz is going to be retired. Then you go back to, okay, is Alex Smith?
Yeah, Alex Smith is the
Alex
Chiefs Hall of
Smith?
Famer.
Okay. We're getting into some big time.
Then you get into,
Dustin Colquitt is a Chiefs Hall of Famer.
Dustin Colquitt, Tyreek Hill is going to be.
I think he's going to play for a decent
Yeah, I know, but
years.
But he won't be in the league much longer than Kelsey will be. I don't think.
You don't think so? Because I think next year is Travis's last year.
3 or 4 more years for Tyreek.
I would take the over.
He's what, 30?
I would take the over. You don't think he's going to try to squeeze every? Yeah, he's 30 years old. I could see him go another 6 years.
Maybe. I just don't know how long he hangs around if he doesn't have elite speed.
But I think he could still be good. It's just a matter of if he's okay with not being the cheetah that we know. That's fair. But that's why I think the Trent Green is an interesting one because I think he might end up getting passed by based on this new generation. Because the guys that have won, like, do you think, like, how many Super Bowls, like, how many Super Bowls do you win?
That's the question. Because, like, a fringe guy who impacted a Super Bowl team changed the defensive culture, but I don't know if he necessarily is a guy who goes in the Hall of Fame as like a Tyrann Mathieu.
Right. That's one of the guys I was thinking of.
That's probably the litmus test for what does Clark Hunt and what does the organization
Matthew only
want to
won
do.
one Super Bowl.
And he was only in Kansas City for 3 seasons.
And so when you look at other guys like that have been there for 3, James Winchester isn't a Chiefs Hall of Famer, probably. But he's won 3 and he's been here the second longest of anyone. So, like, I don't think that's a bad name to throw out. McCole Hardman has 3 Super Bowl rings and the game-winning one. I don't think he's in there, but it's an interest. If they went, like, if those guys get 4.
I could see McCole getting in like the 2040s.
Yeah.
Like one of those.
It depends on how good they are. But, like, that's where there's a lot of – because, I mean, yeah, when you look at this dynasty, Harrison Butker's getting in. Chris Jones is getting, like –
Spags is getting in.
Right.
Andy Reid's getting in.
Depends on who resigns as well. Like, if Nick Bolton stays around, Gabe won't be happy about it, but he'd be getting, like, there's –
Frank Clark is getting in. With his playoff moments, absolutely.
And he has 2 rings. Yeah.
And
right.
he's one of the 5 highest playoff sacks guys in NFL history.
I think Tamba starts the clock on
this
it really, because like last year, the year before that was Dante Hall, which made sense. The year before that was Kimball Anders, which was, I think, the last of that age. And so, yeah, I mean, I think it'll be really interesting to see where they go because there's a lot of great candidates.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that also depends on who stays, but how much weight do you put in the Super Bowl rings? Like, Joe Thuney will have 3 Super Bowl rings if they win this year.
Yeah.
Like,
Joe Thuney has a great case.
Yeah, and I mean, Creed Humphrey
is
just
going to have a great case,
you know, like,
and could be a Chiefs lifer.
Right, and that's why, you know, I think that longevity, which is rare, like, you have to really not play to, like, I don't think Blake Bell is getting in or Derek Nottie. Those are the only 2 guys that haven't played that have won 3. Like, I mean, that's where the James Winchester one, I think, is like, is he that important?
I would
don't
just
know,
say, like,
but his longevity is crazy.
Yeah. I don't know. I would just say, anecdotally, like, Sunday night being there when Tamba was inducted was awesome. The crowd pop when he was the drum honoree pregame was incredible, and I think that whenever Jamal Charles is in that role, awesome. It will be electric.
Yeah, I agree, and that's where there's all these guys have had incredible careers. Like, the bar of making the Chiefs Ring of Honor is incredibly high. Like, based on you can only do one each year. Like, that's not a slight to anyone's career, just as, you know, the Royals Hall of Fame, and it's a good problem to have, the longevity. There might have been some guys that got in before that, you know, we kind of were like, what are, you know, but now you're going to have to really earn it because, yeah, I forgot about the coaching as well. Like, Steve Spagnuolo, obviously, Andy Reid, like, than is anybody else on the offensive side. So, yeah, interesting to see. But congrats to Tamba Hali. All right, Gabe, Messi is going to play News of Today at Children's Mercy Park, February 18th. Your reaction to that? Not at Arrowhead.
Yeah.
And in February, where it could be so cold. It could be snowing at CMP. And the greatest soccer boy of all time is playing there. That's pretty intriguing.
Yeah. I liked a little shout-out to the Sporting KC social media team. Did you see what they put out this afternoon?
A list of accomplishments.
A list of accomplishments for Messi. It's the Ballon d'Or, the won a FIFA World Cup, all these different things, and then the very last one, empty check box, played across the street from Nebraska Furniture Mart.
Yeah,
so
NFM, baby.
We will see what it looks like. I think it's really exciting. I also wonder if CONCACAF / Sporting, I mean, the drawing for matchups happened last week.
Yes.
And there were, I think, 11 options for who Sporting could have played.
Sporting got a good draw.
And so, well, they got a good draw in terms of fan interest.
Yeah,
in terms of ability or chance to win, it's not necessarily.
They hung with Miami and they played at Arrowhead. Like,
yeah.
Sporting when they put now,
but it'll be a different type of roster.
Yeah,
that's the thing. But I wonder if they got caught off guard, and if it's just a matter of they weren't prepared to go play at Arrowhead for that matchup. But also, I think it will be kind of just incredible to go and be in as close as CMP is to the action. To have Messi there will be awesome. So and it's a great way to start. It'll be their first match of 2025. So
it'll bring some excitement to soccer right out of the gate. And it's a little bit more than 3 weeks after the AFC Championship game, so there'd be enough time in Arrowhead if they wanted to. It's the Tuesday the next week after the Super Bowl, so hopefully a week after a championship parade. But I think it's a very interesting decision between choosing between the two, assuming they're both options, because I think you can make compelling cases both ways. Arrowhead was a very pro-Messi crowd, whereas Sporting Park at Children's Mercy Park might be a little bit – there'll obviously be lots of Messi fans, but it might be a little bit more of a home field advantage because you're getting the season ticket holders there.
And they're virtually all going – you would believe –
yeah.
Anybody who has a season ticket holder is opting
you could sell
into
that
game.
ticket.
No, but they're at the very least they're opting into it. And
yes, and then right. So I think it'll be cool. I think it's an interesting deal. And I don't know if Peter Vermees likes the draw from a matchup standpoint, but from an interest draw, I think it is pretty cool. Speaking of interest, Taylor Swift is pretty popular, Gabe, and it's her birthday today. Would you like to wish Taylor Swift a happy birthday?
Yeah, as if she needed to hear it from me.
I thought she did.
Happy birthday,
That's
Taylor
why I
Swift.
put that in. Thank you, Gabe. That's what the people we don't talk about her enough on this program, I feel. Mainly, why I also brought it up there, how cool was it that she was at Children's Mercy Hospital yesterday?
Very cool.
I thought that was so cool. I know some people love her, some people don't want to hear about celebrities, whatever. I think somebody that was able to bring a lot of joy and happiness to people did that yesterday, did it in Kansas City, and that fires me up. I thought that was just a cool story game.
I mean, she's done with her tour. Could have been pretty much anywhere. I don't know if she's going to be making a trip to Cleveland for. I mean, maybe Travis's last game in Cleveland.
That's why, because he's a Cleveland Heights guy. Maybe he can show around town. Say, hey, this is where I threw eggs at this guy's house in the 3rd grade. Do you think they've spent a whole lot of time in Cleveland? Has he showed her his hometown?
I don't think so.
Well, this is a great opportunity.
So
that's that's a point in the relationship, right, where you show them the hometown.
We'll see.
I'd be for it. And has she gone to any road games this year? I don't think so. She went to every game last year. This year has pretty much only been home games. She wasn't at the Chargers game, obviously, because that was her last concert date. So maybe she would be at the Texans game. That'd be the next home game. But either way, I thought it was cool. And have you kind of gotten used to this, Gabe, of the Taylor and Travis attention, and Kelsey specifically? Do you think his play is worse this year because of that?
No.
Do you think he's embracing the attention?
Not.
Where do you stand on the current? Now that we've had almost a year and a half of this, where do you stand on this phenomenon?
Well, we've had a year and a half of this. We've had 4 or 5 years of Patrick Mahomes being the consensus best quarterback in the league, and I'd say since Super Bowl 54 when they won the title, the Chiefs have been the NFL moneymaker, the NFL ratings draw. I know everything draws for the NFL, but the Chiefs are the biggest one at the moment.
Sure.
And with all the things that they've got going on and all the headlines, and I keep thinking about this just because Bill Belichick's back in the news with being at North Carolina this getting hired this week, and how he operated things in New England, and how he was so adamant about making sure that things that were outside of the building didn't impact things inside the building. The Chiefs have things going on outside the building all the time, and they just keep winning. They just keep going to AFC title games. They just keep going to the Super Bowl every other year or back-to-back years or whatever's going on. And it's just the model of consistency, and I think we've had this we were discussing this earlier of just the Chiefs Hall of Famers. It's because they've got so many pillars of organizational greatness top down, whether it's on the coaching staff or on the roster. And I think that is the thing that's most impressive, is that you've got something like this. And Travis Kelce is still, I know he's 35, and he is still,
same age as Taylor,
still one of the 3 or 4 best tight ends in the league.
Yeah, I think he's been great.
I know that like Brock Bowers is having an incredible season, and you could probably argue is the best tight end in the league right now, but I don't think there's anybody you'd rather see suiting up at tight end for the Chiefs in January and February than 87.
Especially on this Chiefs team where we saw it again against the Chargers. Like, Mahomes deserves the most credit for that play, don't get me wrong, but I really wonder like what it's going to be like when Travis isn't there for Patrick. Like, I think Noah Gray coming on, we've shown that that there are other guys that can make plays, but that's part of why I was really big and continue to be big on maximizing this window. You know, because it is not a guarantee that the Chiefs are going to be as dominant once Travis retires. Obviously,
I'm not super worried about it, because
but that's a new hurdle.
I think that when Tyreek Hill left, it reprogrammed the way Mahomes operated.
You think Tyreek Hill would be a bigger deal?
And I think that when Kelce leaves, it will be a bigger deal, but it will kind of reset Patrick in that the go-to isn't just always going to be 87.
Yeah, I think it'll be a bigger deal. Like, if Andy were to leave and then Patrick has to win without him, and whenever Patrick leaves, but I do think Travis always having that target on his back also helps a lot of other guys, whether it be the running game or the wide receiver. Like, he still has that reputation, and even on a down year, like because of his playoffs last year, come playoff time, against the Ravens, like Kelce dominated them, and if they play the Ravens again this postseason, they're going to look at 87. And so unless he has a down postseason, then maybe next year he would stop getting that attention. But either way, I say enjoy it while you can right now, Kansas City, because I think all signs are pointing to next year being his last year.
Unless they three-peat, maybe.
But then what did that have to do with? You think he'd be eyeing a 5-peat?
No, I'm saying if they three-peat this year, I could see him just being like, peace. I've done something that nobody's doing.
I'm not. I want a goodbye. I want a farewell tour. I want him going to every stadium and getting a gift from every team that plays him, like we've had to do for Mariano Rivera, Derek Jeter. Like, who are some of the other dumb farewell tours where they give him
Coach
gifts?
K.
Yeah, that was stupid. But I want that for my guy. All right, when has a Kansas City athlete ever had a farewell tour?
I don't.
Did George? We knew. I don't know about you. I wasn't alive. Well, no, I was. What year did George Brett retire?
I don't know. I wouldn't. I certainly was not locked into that.
93. Gabe and I were
not
here.
A thought.
So sorry, George. But yeah, no Chiefs player. I want a goodbye season, and I think Kelce is one of the rare guys that would deserve that. So we'll see. Either way, shout out Travis, shout out Taylor, shout out Gabe Swartz, and shout out who, Gabe?
James Shields.
James Shields, salute. And that's your Friday show. Have a great weekend, everyone.